Right friends, welcome back to main events. This is 14th week, and what are the important aspects of the week? Unfortunate incident of a major fire which claimed more than 100 lives in Puttingal temple of Paravur in Kollam district of Kerala, and we are going to deliberate on what are the extant guidelines and about the organization, that is Petroleum and Explosives Safety Organization. Then government launches Standup India basically with a view to increase entrepreneurship among SCs, STs and women. Now Aadhaar is 100 crore strong in this country. 100 crore Indians have got Aadhaar. First survey of institutions on National Institutional Ranking Framework, and various institutes are ranked as per NIRF norms. Gatiman Express, India's fastest semi-high-speed train between Hazrat Nizamuddin and Agra, which runs at 160 km per hour. Bihar, another dry state in the country, and the biggest problem is implementation. Visit of Sri Lankan Prime Minister to China and steps to commence Colombo Port City project as well as Hambantota Port is a matter of concern for India. Then we are going to deliberate on a string of perils policy of China, and in our neighborhood the killing of secular bloggers in Bangladesh. And in economy and banking we are going to deliberate on Panama leaks, a little in lecture part and more in news analysis. Right friends, let us look at the first and the foremost event. Major fire in Puttingal temple. This Puttingal temple is situated in Paravur in Kollam district of Kerala, and due to the explosion more than 100 people lost their lives, and some of you can recollect similar incident which occurred in Petlawad village in Madhya Pradesh, and similar incident occurred in Kerala now, and we are going to deliberate on what are the extant rules for storing of explosives. For private use and for public display, what are the extant rules? And we are also going to deliberate on Petroleum and Explosives Safety Organization. And if you look at the guidelines on storage and display of fireworks, these are governed by the Explosives Act of 1884 and explosives rules announced by the central government in 2008. And these two specify regulations for display and storage of firecrackers, and the basic fire safety norms include not having flammable or sparking materials in the near vicinity. One more important point is availability of water and fire extinguishers in the near vicinity, having adequate escape doors, and similarly several noise standards were also prescribed. Noise standards were prescribed based on Environment Protection Act of 1986 as well as explosives rules of 2008. Not only that, Supreme Court also gave stringent guidelines with regard to noise standards, and at the same time we should not forget the central organization which is vested with implementation of these regulations is Petroleum and Explosives Safety Organization, or PESO. It is under the Department of Industrial Policy and Promotion, Ministry of Commerce and Industry. We are going to deliberate on it a little while later. And if you look into the other guidelines on storage and display of fireworks, the fourth important point is these laws are applicable throughout the country, and state governments can make supplementary laws. There are basically two categories, one for private use. If somebody is conducting a marriage, that is private use, and for public display, the fireworks in temples comes under public display, and no license is needed for possession of fireworks up to 100 kilograms for private use. However, for public display of fireworks, license is to be obtained at least 7 days in advance. And For public display, several safety norms were also prescribed, and some of them include wind velocity should not be more than 50 kilometers per hour, constant supervision of the site. Not only that, protective clothing, safety glasses, ear defenders are also required for the people whoever are dealing with the fireworks. And at the same time, depending on the quantum of fireworks, licensing authority is also specified, and it can be district magistrate, controller of explosives, or chief controller of explosives, depending on the quantum of fireworks. Right, and there are several stipulations which are available in the website of PESO. And you may ask, what is PESO? That is Petroleum and Explosives Safety Organization, and it is the nodal authority in the country which regulates and monitors the trade of explosives in the country. It is under the Department of Industrial Policy and Promotion, that is under the Ministry of Commerce and Industry, and the headquarters of this PESO is Nagpur with the 5 circle offices, and it was established in the year 1898 during the colonial era, and it is responsible for administration of several laws pertaining to regulation of explosives, which include Explosives Act of 1884, Petroleum Act of 1934, and it is to regulate around 256,000 premises all over the country. And the organization with the headquarters at Nagpur and only 5 circle offices is definitely not equipped to undertake such mammoth task. So these are the guidelines and this is the organization. So under these circumstances, implementation is the biggest challenge, and they are mostly breached in this country. Because of this, several incidents are taking place in this country, and the solution lies in effective implementation of these laws, and not only that, strengthening this organization, that is Petroleum and Explosives Safety Organization. Right friends, if you look at the next issue, government launches Standup India. For startups, government in the month of January launched Startup India. And now this Standup India is basically to encourage SCs, STs and women entrepreneurs to set up greenfield enterprises in manufacturing, services or trading. You may ask, what is a greenfield enterprise? Greenfield enterprise is basically a new enterprise coming up at new location or coming up as a new venture. Developing the existing venture is a brownfield expansion. So you should differentiate between greenfield expansion and brownfield expansion. And this Stand-up India is for greenfield enterprises for SCs, STs and women. And Prime Minister launched this at Noida, Uttar Pradesh. And Prime Minister's emphasis is that job seekers should become job creators. And this was launched on the birth anniversary of Babu Jagjeevan Ram on April 5. Basically to leverage institutional credit structure for underserved sections of the society, right? And under Stand-up India, credit will be provided to SC, ST and women entrepreneurs ranging from rupees 10 lakh to rupees 1 crore. And all of you should not forget the loans for micro and small enterprises under Pradhan Mantri Mudra Yojana. Pradhan Mantri Mudra Yojana, the loans, that is Shishu, Tarun and Kishore, are up to rupees 10 lakhs. This Stand-up India is for loans from rupees 10 lakh to rupees 1 crore. And here the refinance window will be provided by SIDBI with an initial corpus of rupees 10,000 crore. SIDBI is basically to promote small enterprises, and SIDBI will provide refinance window. You may ask, what is a refinance window? SIDBI will make available loans to banks at low interest rates, whereas banks will pass on the benefit to SCs, STs and women beneficiaries, right? So refinance is the finance at normally low interest rates to intermediaries like banks, whereas banks will give loans to the real beneficiaries. So here SIDBI will come up with rupees 10,000 crore initial corpus, and at the same time for credit guarantee. What is credit guarantee? The small entrepreneurs, that is SCs, STs, women, may not be able to give collateral security. Normally when you are going to the bank will ask you what is the guarantee that you will repay back. So collateral guarantee is the biggest problem for securing loans for small entrepreneurs. Government is seized of the matter. That's why rupees 5,000 crore National Credit Guarantee Trustee Company was established, and this is rupees 5,000 crore. So the credit guarantee will be given by NCGTC, right? So this is all about Stand-up India, and Kaushal Kendra was inaugurated under Pradhan Mantri Kaushal Vikas Yojana, that is for skill development, and SIDBI will coordinate with the DICCI. You may ask what is DICCI? That is the Dalit Indian Chamber of Commerce and Industry. SIDBI and this DICCI will coordinate for implementation of this program, and SIDBI and NABARD will be redesignated as Stand-up Connect Centers. And on this occasion, 5,100 e-rickshaws were also distributed under Bharatiya Microcredit of Pradhan Mantri Mudra Yojana. Right friends, let us move on to the next issue. 100 crore Indians now have Aadhaar. The Aadhaar, which was started in 2010, now reached 100 crore mark. And now 100 crore Indian citizens have got Aadhaar. The population of the country is around 127 or 128 crore. Now 100 crore people, or around 80%, have now got Aadhaar. And first Aadhaar was issued in 2010, and this landmark was reached within 5.5 years. The Union Minister Ravi Shankar Prasad stated that direct benefit transfer for LPG cylinders, linking it with Aadhaar, led to the savings worth rupees 14,672 crores. And Minister also stated that as per section 29 of this Aadhaar Act, core biometrics, that is the fingerprints as well as iris, these shall not be shared with anyone. However, there are some exceptions, and so far 25 crore bank accounts are linked with Aadhaar, and around 71% of LPG connections, or 12 crore LPG connections, are also linked with Aadhaar, and ration cards 45%, that is 11 crore ration cards, are also linked with Aadhaar, and in future 100% linking will take place shortly. Right friends? First survey of institutions on National Institutional Ranking Framework. In fact, you can say they are self-assessed. No one cross-checked with the information. That is the biggest flaw. That's why this institutional ranking framework, which devised this mechanism and which released for the first time rankings of educational institutions, is not a satisfactory mechanism, and it is poorly executed, because based on self-appraisal these rankings were given, no cross-checking mechanism was there, and the rankings were given in 4 streams: engineering, top 5, IIT Madras, IIT Bombay, IIT Kharagpur, IIT Delhi, IIT Kanpur. The top 5 positions were taken by IITs. IIT Madras stood first. Then if you look at the management colleges, IIM Bangalore stood first, followed by IIM Ahmedabad, Calcutta, Lucknow and Udaipur. If you look at the top 5 universities, Indian Institute of Science Bangalore stood first, followed by ICT Mumbai, Jawaharlal Nehru University Delhi, University of Hyderabad. These 2 are into controversies in recent times. They took 3rd and 4th positions. Tejpur University is in 5th position. Similarly, rankings were also given for pharmacy colleges, but rankings were not given for general degree colleges and architecture colleges, because there was not much response in these 2 categories. But overall, they are poorly executed as felt by experts. Look into the next one, Gatiman Express, India's first semi-high-speed train. It was launched, and the maximum permissible speed is 160 km per hour. and when the speed is from around 160 kilometers per hour to 200 kilometers per hour, it is normally categorized as semi-high speed. And this is the first semi-high speed train in this country, and the first high speed, that is a bullet train, will come up between Mumbai and Ahmedabad. Japan is going to assist in that project with their Shinkansen technology. We have already deliberated in previous classes, and this semi-high speed train between Hazrat Nizamuddin and Agra will run except Fridays, and this distance is around 200 kilometers, and it will be covered in around 100 minutes, that means 1 hour 40 minutes. And interestingly, this duration is only few minutes less than the time taken by Delhi-Bhopal Shatabdi Express. And in this train, hostesses will be present on board for catering, just like air hostesses. Then free on-board entertainment facilities for passengers. Fare is higher than Shatabdi, and the fare is for chair car rupees 750 for this 200 kilometers and rupees 1500 for executive class. And the special features of this train is speed with the state-of-the-art features, improved catering, and offering of different types of cuisines, right? So finally we got a semi-high speed train, but overall you can say it is not much improvement over the already running Shatabdi between Delhi and Bhopal. Look into the next one, Bihar, another dry state in India. Bihar government initially from April 1 banned sale and consumption of country and spiced liquor, but subsequently within 4 days it took a decision to ban. So total ban on alcohol imposed by Bihar government from 5th April, and this includes IMFL also, and no alcohol can be legally consumed in entire Bihar, including bars and restaurants. But cantonment areas are excluded because they regulate in their own way. Here consumption of Neera will be allowed, but toddy will be disallowed. You may ask, what is the difference between Neera and toddy? Neera and toddy both come from palm trees, but Neera is the drink from palm trees before sunrise, which is not fermented, and toddy is fermented with alcoholic properties, right? So Neera is not banned, but toddy is banned. If you look at the events around the world, visit of Sri Lankan Prime Minister to China. India is watching the developments closely. Sri Lankan Prime Minister visited China, but there are two important aspects. One is Colombo Port City project. Colombo Port City project was conceptualized during the regime of Mahinda Rajapaksa, and subsequently it was shelved on environmental concerns, and it is $1.4 billion port city project. Now both the countries decided to iron out technical details before construction could resume. And second point is Hambantota port. This Hambantota port is in 3 phases. The first phase was already completed at $361 million, out of which 85% was funded by China. The second phase will cost $750 million, and after completion of 3 phases, it will become the biggest in South Asia. And China stated both sides will speed up the negotiations. And this Hambantota port is a part of Chinese string of perils policy. And here the decision of both the countries to iron out technical details of Colombo Port City, as well as to speed up negotiations for Hambantota Port. This Hambantota Port has got one more name, that is Magampura Mahinda Rajapaksa Port. And these two projects, the decision of both the governments to speed up the process of restarting the works is a matter of concern for India, and this Hambantota port, I have already told you, is part of a string of perils policy. And you may ask, what is a string of perils policy? String of perils policy is basically establishing sea lines of communication to connect the Chinese mainland with the ports of Middle East and coasts of Africa. And basically this string of perils policy runs along the Indian Ocean periphery with the development of maritime infrastructure, development of ports with Chinese assistance. And if you look into this slide, one port in Myanmar, one port in Sri Lanka, one port in Maldives, one port in Pakistan, that is Gwadar port, these are all part of string of perils policy. And this chain of ports connect three important maritime choke points in the world. Three important maritime choke points in the world. If you ask what are they, the first one is Strait of Hormuz. Strait of Hormuz, please look into this slide. Strait of Hormuz is the choke point which is used to take off oil from the Persian Gulf. Persian Gulf, the countries like Saudi Arabia, Iran, Bahrain, Qatar, then Kuwait. These countries produce a substantial portion of oil, and this Strait of Hormuz is used to drain out oil from Persian Gulf. And it is the Strait of Malacca. This is the second choke point. This is situated between Malaysia and Indonesia, and lot of seaborne traffic towards Southeast Asia as well as China passes through this Strait of Malacca. And the third choke point is Bab el Mandeb. Bab el Mandeb is basically used to drain out oil from Red Sea area, right? So these three are the important maritime choke points, and so as to connect these three maritime choke points with good maritime infrastructure, this string of perils policy is intended. That is the Chinese version, but India strongly feels that it is with a view to expand its naval bases across Indian Ocean. That means to expand Chinese military presence across Indian Ocean, but China says they are only for the purposes of trade and commerce. Under these circumstances, the decision of Sri Lanka and China to speed up negotiations with regard to Hambantota port is a real matter of concern for India. Right friends, look at the next issue, that is killing of secular bloggers in Bangladesh. Bangladesh got independence in 1971. Several war crimes including genocide were alleged to have committed by Pakistani army with local collaborators. The present government came to power in 2009. The government is led by Sheikh Hasina. Sheikh Hasina is the daughter of founding father of Bangladesh, that is Sheikh Mujibur Rahman, and Sheikh Hasina established Crimes Tribunal somewhere around 2010, and now several persons, most of them belong to Jamaat-e-Islami, are being sentenced to death or life imprisonment, and this infuriated several radical Islamist groups in Bangladesh, because of which several killings of secular bloggers is taking place. Bangladesh got independence in the year 1971. The founding father is Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujibur Rahman, and the present Prime Minister is the daughter of Sheikh Mujibur Rahman. Right? And during 1971, several atrocities were alleged to have committed by Pakistani army in collaboration with local perpetrators. Right friends, if you look at the last event, Panama leaks, Mossack Fonseca, that is the law firm in Panama, and as per the leaked documents to German newspaper, investigated by ICIJ. ICIJ is International Consortium of Investigative Journalists, and as per ICIJ analysis, several prominent politicians have got offshore accounts. You may ask, what is offshore account? Offshore account is basically the financial transaction which is undertaken in tax havens like British Virgin Islands, Bahamas, and here these tax havens are being used for tax avoidance by multinational companies and tax evasion by several prominent personalities across the world. And the list includes 500 persons from India, but you cannot straight away say it is illicit money or legal money. And here immediately after Panama leaks, government constituted a committee to look into the aspects. The committee constitutes officials from Reserve Bank of India, then officials from Foreign Tax and Tax Research Division, as well as from Financial Intelligence Unit, which looks at suspicious financial transactions. Right friends, I am stopping this here because I have deliberated in detail about these tax havens, black money, offshore destinations or offshore accounts in news analysis of this week. Please listen to it if you want more about these Panama leaks. Right friends, with this let us conclude lecture part. Do join for news analysis if you want more about Panama leaks. Do join for S&T if you want more aspects on S&T, health and environment. Right friends, have a nice day. Thank you.